What is going on, guys? Welcome back to your Lake Fork Guide. Hey, it's March. It's springtime. It's bass fishing season officially now, and we're down here at Sam Rayburn today doing some tournament research and tournament practice, getting ready for bass champs.
Here we go, guys. Bass Champs on Sam Rayburn. We actually got two events, one on Saturday, March 13th, one on Sunday, March 14th. They're making up for our canceled tournament due to the crazy winter storm we had in Texas that canceled the Toledo Bend tournament, or I should say rescheduled the Toledo Bend tournament. We're just going to do two in a row on Rayburn in March. I ain't mad at them. Not a bad way to do it. But, you know, this time of year, a lot of things change. There's a lot of changing dynamics in the water column, and this week will be no different. We got that 5-day off limits period, which is something new to me. I'm having to learn how to deal with this 5-day off limits. I've never had to deal with that before. And there's going to be a lot of changes during the off limits period for this particular tournament. We're actually going to have really warm temps all week. In fact, the 2 days before the tournament, highs are going to be in the 80s, lows are going to be in the 60s at night. Really going to do an extreme warm trend on that water, where the shallowest water will by far be the warmest water in the lake. There's also a new moon Saturday night after the first event. All this is telling me there should be some really big fish pulling into extremely shallow type water to go do their thing. Get the spawning cycle going. You guys, if you fish East Texas, you know when you get that first really big warming trend in March, and it just so happens to coincide with a moon cycle, the bank's going to be the way to go. Like, there's going to be some fish back in some super shallow stuff. That's really probably going to be the play. Now, while I'm there, that's not going to be the case for practice. There's going to be some cooler water. There's probably going to be fish in between, moving around, transitioning. There's probably going to be some fish staging out. So we're going to fish staging stuff. We're going to fish outside deeper grass. We're going to fish secondary points. We're going to fish offshore structure with the big plug. We're going to do all that stuff. But I really feel like on tournament day, I'm just trying to find fish in areas, and on tournament day, they're going to be on the bank. Now, all that being said, spawning areas in certain lakes, in any lake, can be a little bit random if you don't know the lake personally. I don't know Sam Rayburn that well personally. You guys see, every time I go down there, y'all see it on camera. When it comes to spawning areas, bottom content, grass content, like so many like local knowledge type things can play and make one area better for spawning than another. That being said, I can do some map study. I can look at Google Earth. I can try to find flooded cover. I can try to find on Navionics the big flat areas where a lot of fish can spawn. And that's all good, but you may pull into those. It's kind of like a random deal. You pull into those, it's got the wrong bottom content. There's not going to be very many fish there. It's a lot of local knowledge comes into play when you're talking about spawning season. So for that reason, our tournament research for Sam Rayburn is really going to lean on the Fish Life app. Here's the kind of complicated part. When you guys subscribe to any of our premium packages on the Fish Life app, I encourage you to do this yourself. These waypoints are marked at the beginning of March. So there's going to be waypoints that are marked where fish were staging in extremely cold water right after that storm. But with this tournament, those fish are going to be moving in to spawn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for the areas that have a higher density of waypoints in them. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So if you look right here, these are going to be two waypoints that are marked very close to each other. Most of the waypoints will be kind of one at a time if you look here. So we got a waypoint, a waypoint, a waypoint. But up here, we've got two right next to each other. That's going to tell me there's possibly a higher density of fish in this area right here. That's going to give me a clue there's more fish holding in that region. Spawning area 1. Oh, spawning area already marked. Okay. Point is small, but the bank is bringing up some bedding bass. Use a lipless crankbait, a jerkbait, slow roll chatter. So this is talking about staging stuff. We're still talking about using lipless crankbaits, jerkbaits, chatterbaits, stuff like that on a point next to a spawning area. That's what that says. This is saying to work this bank towards the west using Texas rig lizard and a wacky worm as fish move on the bed. So now we're talking about fish starting to spawn. That's exactly what we're looking for. High density of fish, two waypoints close to each other. That's going to tell us there's more fish in that area. And we got some spawning activity starting to happen. So now I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to look at this creek right here. And what I'm going to do is go to the back of it where the warmest water will be during this tournament. And as I get back in here and I get to the northwest corner, The northwest corner is going to receive the most sunshine, right? That's going to be, should be the warmest water. There's a lot of good looking flooded stuff back here. You guys can see it looks like hay grass right there, some flooded bushes maybe. Here's some brush of some kind, grass of some kind. Lots of stuff in the water. Some cypress trees back here. So we've got some flooded bushes, some flooded grass, and some flooded cypress trees, all in the very back of this creek where we had those multiple waypoints. So what I'm actually doing is I'm not actually going and fishing the waypoints. I'm taking the waypoints, I'm taking the information of where the fish have been. I'm taking into consideration the current conditions that we're dealing with in the state of Texas, spawning cycle, warm trend, moon cycle, all that good stuff, and I'm making an adjustment based on that app. I'm still using the Fish Life app to help me find these fish. Now, the Fish Life app is so great because it always has a local guy that's on the lake full time that's updating these waypoints every month. But as you know, guys, things change in a month, especially during spawning season. Sometimes you got to take the information the app gives you and use your own knowledge to kind of figure out some differences in what the fish may be doing at that time. But when you're talking about 114,000 acres of Sam Rayburn, that is a massive undertaking to go out for 3 days and try to figure out where you're going to have the best chance to catch fish. This app, this Fish Life app, which is linked in the description, of course, you can find links for it in the description, it is invaluable. It's an invaluable tool to go to a new body of water, especially a big one like Sam Rayburn, and just know that you can get to an area and know that area currently is holding fish. Now, if I go to the back of this creek and I don't catch anything, I can pull back out to those waypoints, spur of the moment, go fish the areas he's talking about, and we can see if we can figure it out there. It's just so valuable to get you in that area, and then you can kind of fish the way you want to and use your head to kind of think about what adjustments you need to make for the way you want to fish. So I've marked off a couple areas on the app that I want to try. On the first day, we're going to start right there where I showed you. So let's take you guys out on the water, see how it goes right now. First fishing march on Rayburn. MDJ, where you at? It's the March on Fork MDJ trick right here. We'll talk about that. But keeper anyway. Just back here chasing warm water today, folks. That's all we're doing. Dang, drag slipped on me. Y'all see that? You see that? I was waiting to see you jump in and get it. I recovered well though. You recovered well, fishing off. It's rolling. It's right there on the steering wheel. It's going. Your Lake Fork guide. Really? Yeah. No way. Yeah. That was awesome. Y'all see that? Almost threw my rod in the water. Trees. That sucker is all kinds of caught up in a tree now. I mean, all kinds of caught up in a tree on that swim jig. We got him though. Come here. What a mess. What a fish catch for a little bitty dude. We might be starting to dial something in now. And these fish aren't big, but we're starting to get bites a lot more fast. And I picked up the swim jig for a little bit because I was going to skip it back behind some of these cypress trees. This boat's running right at me. It's kind of rude, isn't it? Shut down. Thank you. I picked up that swim jig because I was going to skip it back in here up really, really shallow behind some of these cypress trees. But man, upon looking at it, it just, hey, it's some really
pretty thick. It's hard lines to get in and out of. And it doesn't look like there's much water. Looking at the cypress trees, you can see some of the roots popping out. There's just not much water on those cypress trees that are that far back there. So went back to the swim bait. It's an even easier, even more weedless option that I can fire around all this heavy cover that I'm fishing out here that you guys can see flooded. Hay grass, there's some salvia in here floating around. There's trees, bush, buckbrush, cypress trees, just a lot of heavy cover up shallow. And man, nothing more weedless and easier to fish than a swim bait. The one I've been using today is the Whale from 6 Cents Fishing. That's the one we're using. So he blew the head out on that one. Time to get a new one. Little guy. So what's going on here is I actually pulled out to that fish life spot that clued me into this big whole creek arm in the first place, and one of those, the point's right out there, and I fished that point. The water's colder out there. I didn't see any signs of bait out there. I didn't see any signs of life, but I did go fish it, just kind of give it its due. But I think what's going on is as this water is warm, shallow water is obviously becoming the warmest. A lot of these fish are just moving in. Now that was a little bitty one, but actually as I came in here, this is a cove right beside that point that's marked. It's just a real small little corner, not even a cove really, just a little nook. But as I came in here to fish that, I saw a couple fish on beds. They were real spooky. Water was a little dirty, had a little cloud cover intermittent here and there. I really couldn't see them well enough to set up one of them bed fish for them. But I just picked up the Texas rig. I'm like, well, we got all this buckbrush in the back. Let's flip that. Like if they were spotting bass on them bushes, let's just flip it. The first pitch I caught that little one. That was the first pitch. So I don't know. We'll see. I think there might be some spawning fish in this cove, which is weird because the water is actually below 60 here, where it was above 60 in the back. But there's some fish in here acting like they're spawning.
Well, you guys, unfortunately, the second day of practice, we did not actually get to film. It rained on us all day. I couldn't use the cameras because it was just raining the entire time. We did go to another section of the lake, completely on the other end of the lake, an area that I knew a little bit, understood a little better, and we did catch some better quality fish. Now, we didn't catch anything huge. We weren't going out there sacking up 25 pounds or anything crazy. But we caught some better quality fish in that area. Same deal. Finding that warmest water, going to the back, finding those western, northern pockets within that creek, and just fishing the shallow cover. Now, on the second day when it was raining, caught a lot more fish flipping than we did the first day. The first day, everything was pretty much on a moving bait. But the second day, we caught them on slow moving baits. Little Texas rig hog walleye is actually what I was catching most of my fish on. So, was excited to catch a little bit better quality fish. Was even more excited, not too worried about the quality of fish I'm catching right now, because like I said, I think the bigger fish are coming to us with the weather we have during off limits. But I was excited to duplicate the pattern on a whole other side of the lake. On day 3, my plan is to go hit another couple areas that I know well, that I understand. Let's go fish those and see if we can duplicate it once again. Also on day 3, I'm going to concentrate a little bit more on staging areas. I feel like I've kind of got enough water of the shallow stuff that I feel good about at this point. I've got 2 big areas that it'll take a long time to fish, that I know are holding fish, and it's a lot of cover to dissect and break down. It'll take me a long time to fish it on tournament day. So I also want to go try to fish some staging areas on day 3 and see if I can figure out some areas that are holding big fish right now.
We're starting off real good today. I didn't have the camera rolling for the first fish of the day, but there you go. Solid little keeper. Not really big enough, but it's a keeper. Swim bait fish. Caught it on that Whale swim bait again. So today's just kind of a continuation from yesterday. We have had some cool weather. We had some rain and some cold weather since the last time you guys saw me on Rayburn. So the water has cooled off and the water's quite a bit cooler over here, but same pattern held true. Shallow fishing the hay grass, the flooded stuff, and I really think these fish are moving in spawn. It's that time of year where the water temps are cooling down or not, they got to move in. I mean, we're getting into the middle of March now, or towards it. Daylight periods are getting longer every day, and I really feel like all these fish are going to be extremely shallow. So far, so good. Got another good bite right there. We'll see if we can put something together today with that swim bait. Come here. That was cool. Actually, watch that one eat it. That was neat. Another little male bass right there. Not a big one at all. Just a little guy. That one might barely be a keeper. Squeaker keeper, as they say.
Got unlucky. My bait folded up on my hook, but I actually watched that one eat it. Right as the bait rolled over, that fish came up, swung on it. Second one I've seen swipe on. I tell you what, it's one good advantage to throwing this pearl white swim bait. And the water's a little stained, that's why we're using the pearl white. But throwing this pearl white swim bait, man, when they swing on it, you can see the bait really good in the water. And so a lot of times you'll actually see them hit it. So, not much action from day 3 as you saw. Day 3 was really tough. We had good weather, everything was good. The first area I pulled into was an area that is marked on the app. There's actually 3 waypoints marked at the mouth of this creek arm on the map. Went to the very back corner just like I did on day 1. Actually found some good coontail grass growing out to 6-7 foot of water, growing really tall. It looked like the best area I had seen all week. I ended up spending like 3 hours in there that morning and did not get a bite. Not one bite. Don't know why. It was the best looking water. I thought I thought I done found it. Like when I pulled in there and saw how it was set up, I was like, this is the deal. Just didn't happen in there. From there, I went and fished some staging areas. I fished some outside, close to the main lake mouth of the creek, deeper grass areas. I did go fish some offshore structure, fish an underwater bridge, fish some points, stuff like that. Again, not a single bite. Not one bite on any of that stuff. Finally pulled into that pocket that you guys saw us catch those couple later on in the day. Did catch a couple fish in there pretty quick. That pocket looks really good. That's actually the same pocket we caught our fish on in the last event in January. So feel good about that pocket as well. So now I've got 2 big areas and 1 relatively smaller area by Rayburn standards that I feel like we can go catch shallow fish on, and there should be better fish coming to us, as we've said multiple times in this video, for the tournament. So that's it, man. That's what we've got. I don't feel the best about the game plan. I never caught anything big. It wasn't as good as practice was in January, but in January, practice went pretty good. I really felt good about the tournament. Really felt like we had some good quality size fish that we were going to be able to catch. And then on tournament day, we totally bombed. It was the worst tournament of my life. So hopefully, I'm hoping that practice goes a little tough and we don't get the big bites. And I'm forecasting correctly about what the fish are going to do with the weather and everything. And hopefully tournament goes really well and we catch some good fish and we go make a little money. I don't like going into it like this. I don't feel good about it. It makes me nervous. I'll be honest with you. I kind of feel like I'm setting myself up to bomb on camera again, but that's what we do around here. It's not always pretty. It's definitely never the most well-produced video production around here. The fishing's not always great, but it is very real. We're going to break down how we're thinking about things, what we're trying to do, how we're trying to figure it out in as much detail as anybody you've ever seen. We're going to share information as much as anybody ever has. And you guys are going to get the real deal. Like we always say, you're going to see what happens whether we catch them or we don't. Didn't really catch them that good in practice. Hopefully tournament goes better. Here's hoping. We'll see. One thing I will say that was really cool about this weekend, and something that is a very big point of pride for me, is we work really hard on this Fish Life app. The guys that work with us on these other lakes like Rayburn, they work really hard. And to pull into an area the first day, be able to make a slight adjustment off the waypoints, move back to the warmer water, and immediately start catching fish, it's pretty cool to pull down to a lake as big as Sam Rayburn, which, by the way, was fishing very tough. You can look at the BFL results from the weekend before Bass Champs. They had 2 BFL events, and you can see that, yes, some guys caught them, but the vast majority of the field did not catch fish very well. So Rayburn has been fishing very tough on the days we were there, but we pulled right in there immediately and started catching fish. And there's, the odds of me doing that without using that Fish Life app are just almost none. So very, very grateful to have great partners like we do on these lakes that provide quality information that allows not only me, but all of you to go subscribe to the Fish Life app on any lake package that you would like that we carry. And you're going to be able to go to areas having confidence that there's fish in those areas. Hey, thank y'all so very much for watching today. As always, I really appreciate it. Wish us the best of luck in the tournament. It looks like we're probably going to need it. And that's it, man. Just thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for everything you do for us here. We do sincerely appreciate it. We'll see you next time right here on your Lake Fork Guide.